If you eat a yogurt most mornings believing it's good for your blood sugar, please don't take another spoonful until you've seen this. Because whether a yogurt protects you or slowly raises your numbers often comes down to a single line on the label. And it's a line most people past 60 walk right past. Here's what makes this so tricky. The right yogurt is genuinely one of the best foods you can reach for when you're watching your blood sugar. But the wrong one works quietly against you, nudging your numbers higher month after month with no warning sign you'd ever notice at the breakfast table. There's no stomach ache, no spike you can feel, just a slow drift in the wrong direction. So the real question was never whether you should eat yogurt. It's which yogurt is sitting in your refrigerator right now. That single decision, made half asleep in the dairy aisle, matters more than almost anything else about your morning routine. And the trouble is, the labels are designed to make the wrong choice feel like the healthy one. The words Greek, natural, and fruit are doing a lot of work to earn your trust. So today, I'm going to show you the 4 yogurts that truly belong in your cart and the 4 you'll want to think twice about. By the end, you'll know exactly what to look for on the label to keep your blood sugar steady, instead of guessing. And I'll warn you now, the single most dangerous one on this list is actually a version of the very yogurt I'm about to praise as the best. Stay with me to the end because that's the one catching the most people off guard. Before we go further, tell me something. What kind of yogurt did you have this morning? Type the name in the comments, I'd love to see it. And if you're someone past 60 working to keep your blood sugar steady, join us and subscribe so we can keep walking this road together. Now, before I point out a single yogurt to avoid, let's start with the good news, the ones that are genuinely on your side. Here's the part most people never hear. Almost any plain, unsweetened yogurt is already in a different league from the dangerous ones. You don't need a special brand or a fancy label. You need to know what to look for. And it really does come down to 3 things. But first, let me show you why this food earns a place at your table in the first place. In March of 2024, the FDA did something it rarely does. For the first time, it allowed yogurt to carry what's called a qualified health claim, stating that eating yogurt at least 3 times a week may reduce the risk of type 2 diabetes. Now, I want to be honest with you, the FDA itself called the evidence behind this limited. They didn't say proven, they said may. And that kind of careful language is exactly why you can trust it. The research underneath that decision is worth knowing. A large analysis published in the journal BMC Medicine back in 2014, drawing on more than 100,000 people through Harvard, found that 1 serving of yogurt a day was linked to roughly an 18% lower risk. Other pooled studies landed closer to 14% at around 80 to 125 grams a day. I have to be straight with you about what those numbers mean. This is association, not proof of cause. Eating yogurt didn't cure anyone. But here's the encouraging part. Those numbers came from ordinary, plain yogurt. Not anything exotic. So even the most basic tub on the shelf already carries that value. So what are the 3 things? First, enough protein. Second, no added sugar. And third, those words on the label, live and active cultures. As a rough guide, look for something under about 15 grams of carbohydrate per serving. Think of the protein as a brake. It slows down how fast sugar reaches your bloodstream, so nothing rushes in all at once. That's your measuring stick for the whole video. Now let's put it to work, with 4 yogurts worth choosing for whatever your body needs. Let's start with the one you can find in almost any store, the easiest upgrade you can make tomorrow morning, plain Greek yogurt. You already know it. It's everywhere now, sitting on every shelf, and that's part of what makes it so useful. You don't have to hunt for it. What sets it apart is the protein. A single serving gives you somewhere between 15 and 20 grams, and its glycemic index sits around 14, which is remarkably low for a food this satisfying. Here's what that protein is actually doing inside you. The whey in dairy slows how quickly sugar gets absorbed, and it gently nudges your body to release insulin the natural way, at the right pace. And there's a bonus that matters more as we get older. A breakfast rich in protein doesn't just steady your blood sugar that morning, it helps keep your numbers calmer at lunch too. Researchers call it the second meal effect. One good choice early sets the tone for the whole day. Now I need to clear something up because I hear this constantly. Many of you were told somewhere along the way that people with diabetes should avoid yogurt entirely, even Greek. And I understand why that advice stuck. But it's only half right. That warning was never about plain Greek yogurt. It was about the sweetened versions dressed up to look healthy. The plain kind was never the problem. I think of Raymond, 68, who sat across from me and said, almost apologizing, "Doctor, I gave up yogurt a whole year ago because I was scared of the milk sugar." A whole year. Gone. Over a misunderstanding. He'd cut it out completely, convinced he was protecting himself. When he went back to plain Greek with a handful of berries, he told me mornings finally felt different, he stayed full, and his numbers settled into a better place. He'd even taken to dropping a small handful of walnuts on top, a little ritual he looked forward to. Sometimes the fix isn't adding something, it's undoing a fear that was never true. If Greek yogurt is the easy upgrade, this next one is the natural step up, especially if you want a little more, with a gentler taste. Skyr, the Icelandic kind. Think of it as Greek yogurt's quieter, thicker cousin. It packs in around 19 grams of protein for only about 110 calories, with carbs sitting low near 7 grams, which means its effect on your blood sugar is just about nothing. And here's something that matters to a lot of you who've told me dairy doesn't sit well anymore. The way Skyr is strained removes close to 90% of the lactose. So many people who can't tolerate milk sugar find they handle it just fine. There are 2 more reasons it earns a spot for those of us past 60. The casein protein in it digests slowly, so it keeps you full for hours and takes the edge off those mid-morning cravings that derail a good day. And a single serving covers roughly 15% of your daily calcium, which your bones quietly thank you for as the years go on. But, and I want you to hear this clearly, the flavored versions of Skyr can hide 15 to 20 grams of added sugar in a single cup. The same product that protects you can turn against you the moment someone adds vanilla and fruit to it. So always reach for plain and let the label be short, 3 ingredients or fewer. Keep that thought with you because it's going to matter more than you expect very soon. Let's change things up because the next one doesn't come in a tub at all. You drink it, and it happens to be the one with the strongest clinical backing for your blood sugar, plain kefir. This is where the science gets genuinely interesting. A controlled trial published in the Iranian Journal of Public Health in 2015 took 60 patients with type 2 diabetes and had them drink 600 milliliters a day for 8 weeks. By the end, their fasting blood sugar had dropped by an amount the researchers could confidently call meaningful, not chance. And it wasn't a one-off. A pooled analysis of randomized trials in 2021 reached the same conclusion, that kefir helps with both fasting blood sugar and insulin. Why would a drink do that? Kefir carries far more strains of beneficial bacteria than ordinary yogurt. Those microbes go to work on the ecosystem in your gut, calming inflammation and, over time, helping your body respond to insulin the way it's supposed to. Now I owe you the full picture, not just the flattering half. Kefir lowers fasting blood sugar, yes, but those same pooled analyses did not show a clear effect on HbA1c, your 3-month average, so I won't sit here and promise it'll bring that number down. What I'll tell you honestly is that it earns its place in your week. That's a fair claim and an honest one. There's a practical side too. Because it's something you sip, it suits anyone who finds chewing tiresome, or who's rushing out the door with no time to sit with a bowl. You can drink your breakfast and still be doing right by your body. And I don't want to leave anyone out, because not everyone can or wants to eat dairy. So the 4th one is for you. Plain, unsweetened soy yogurt. Let me be even-handed about where it stands. Plant-based yogurts tend to come with less sugar and less sodium, and often a bit more fiber, but they usually give you less protein and less calcium than dairy. Among the plant options, though, soy is the closest thing to dairy you'll find, delivering around 8 or 9 grams of protein. That's why it's the one I point people toward. Here's where I want to be honest about its real strength, because it isn't blood sugar. Soy's standout benefit is what it does for your cholesterol. Pooled analyses show that the isoflavones in soy meaningfully lower both total and LDL cholesterol. As for blood sugar and HbA1c, the effect hasn't reached statistical significance, though one trial out of the University of Hull, published in Frontiers in Endocrinology in 2019, did find soy protein improved HbA1c compared to casein. Promising, but I won't oversell it. So why does this matter so much for those of us past 60? At our age, heart risk climbs. And soy helps bring down that LDL number without dragging in the saturated fat you'd get elsewhere. That's a real gift for your heart. But, and this is non-negotiable, it has to say unsweetened. So many of these plant yogurts slip sugar in quietly to make up for flavor. Read the label every single time. So there's your measuring stick in one breath. High protein, no added sugar, live cultures. That's it. Now do me a favor. Go to your refrigerator and pull out the yogurt sitting there. Look for the line that says added sugar. Does yours have it? Check right now while we're together. Because we're about to take that exact same measuring stick to 4 yogurts, including the one you probably think is the healthiest of all, and see what they're really doing to your blood sugar. We'll ease into this list, starting with one that fools people on speed and on looks, the sweetened drinkable yogurts and yogurt smoothies. On the surface, they seem like a smart grab-and-go choice. Convenient, marketed as healthy, easy to throw in a bag. But here's the trouble. When sugar comes in liquid form, your stomach empties it fast, and there's almost no protein or fat in the mix to slow it down. So the sugar arrives in your bloodstream in a rush, all at once, with nothing standing in its way. Liquid sugar runs straight into your blood, like water down an open drain, nothing there to hold it back. And there's a second trap layered on top. Because it's a drink, you can finish the whole bottle without ever feeling full. With a bowl, your body has a chance to register that you've eaten. With a smoothie, you've swallowed 2 servings of sugar before your stomach catches up. The portion control your body normally does for you simply doesn't kick in. I'm not telling you to give up the convenience, though. If sipping your breakfast is what fits your life, you already know the better answer because we talked about it a few minutes ago. Reach for plain kefir instead. Same easy format, none of the sugar rush. You get to keep the habit and lose the problem, which is exactly the kind of trade I want for you. This next one is sneakier because it's wearing a health costume. The non-fat, flavored yogurts. The label practically glows with reassurance. Fat-free, light, everything we were taught to want. But follow the logic for a second. When you strip the fat out of yogurt, you strip out a lot of the taste and the richness along with it. So how do manufacturers make it appealing again? They pour in sugar. That's the quiet trade. Less fat on the front of the cup almost always means more sugar inside it. And here's where I have to challenge something many of us spent decades believing. The fat in plain, full-fat yogurt is not the villain we once made it out to be. A large cohort study out of Denmark actually found that full-fat yogurt was linked to a lower risk of diabetes. I want to be fair, though. The official guidelines still lean toward lower-fat dairy, and that's a reasonable position. And if you're someone managing high cholesterol or heart disease, you do have good reason to keep an eye on saturated fat. I'm not waving that concern away. But for most of you, the lesson is this. The enemy was never the natural fat that belongs in yogurt. The enemy is the sugar that gets spooned in to replace it. We spent years afraid of the wrong thing, and the food industry was happy to let us, because sweetening up a fat-free cup sells beautifully. Don't let the word light do your thinking for you. Turn the cup over and read. Now we reach the one that fools even careful people, the ones who already read labels. The yogurt's proudly stamped naturally sweetened or no refined sugar. Let me name the belief underneath this, because I've heard it in my office 100 times. There's a deep, comforting idea that honey is somehow medicine. that maple syrup is wholesome, that if the sweetness comes from nature, it's gentler on the body than plain white sugar, and the label "no refined sugar" leans on that belief on purpose. It's a sleight of hand, a swap of one word for another, so you feel virtuous reaching for it. So let me tell you what your body actually sees. The glucose and fructose in honey, in maple syrup, in concentrated fruit juice, all of it still raises your blood sugar. All of it still puts that same pressure on your pancreas to keep up. Your bloodstream cannot tell the difference between sugar from a flower and sugar from a factory. To your cells, it's the same arrival. Natural describes where the sugar came from. It says nothing, nothing at all, about what it does to your numbers once it's inside you. So here's exactly how to catch it. Flip the cup and read the ingredient list. Look for honey, maple syrup, fruit juice concentrate, cane juice. Every one of those counts as added sugar, no matter how lovely it sounds on the front of the package. Let me ask you gently before we go on. Is there a naturally sweetened yogurt in your kitchen right now that you've been trusting? Picture it. Hold that thought, because the very last one I'm about to show you is the trap that catches the most people of all, and it's hiding inside a yogurt I already praised. And here it is. The single most dangerous yogurt on this entire list is the flavored Greek and flavored Skyr. I know. A few minutes ago, I held those two up as the very best choices you could make. And I meant it. But only when they're plain. The moment someone turns that same protein-rich Greek yogurt into vanilla, or strawberry, or honey, it crosses over and joins the worst of them. The strength becomes the disguise. That's exactly why it catches so many good, careful people, because they trusted the word Greek to protect them. Let me show you the numbers, because they're sobering. Flavored yogurts often carry a glycemic index of 33 or higher. The fruit on the bottom kind climbs past 40 and packs 15 to 25 grams of added sugar in a single serving. Sit with that. A cup of vanilla Greek yogurt can hold about as much sugar as a candy bar. The same cup, plain, was protecting you. Sweetened, it's working against you. And here's the part that makes my heart sink, because it's so easy to get wrong. Walk down the dairy aisle, and the plain Greek sits right beside the vanilla Greek. Same brand, same shape, nearly the same cup. The mix-up doesn't happen because people are careless. It happens because the store sets the trap one shelf away from the cure. I think of Carol, 64, who came back to me frustrated that her numbers hadn't budged, even though, as she put it, she ate yogurt religiously every morning. She was proud of it. She even told me, beaming, that she'd switched to Greek just to be safe. It turned out her loyalty was to a Greek honey vanilla, the one she was certain was the healthy pick. We turned the cup over together and read the label out loud. I watched it land on her face. She'd been doing everything right, with the wrong yogurt. So if you remember nothing else, remember one word on that label. Plain. There's one more category I owe you an honest word about, so I'm not leaving a gap. The light or diet yogurts made with artificial sweeteners. I won't put these in the bad group because that wouldn't be fair. Sweeteners like aspartame, sucralose, and stevia barely raise your blood sugar in the moment, and that's true, but their longer-term effects on your taste and your gut are still being studied, so I'd call them acceptable, not ideal. A reasonable fallback, not a gold standard. So let's bring this home. Yogurt was never your enemy, it never was. The real trouble was only ever two things: the sugar quietly added in, and the protein stripped out. That's the whole story. Which means the yogurt you choose matters far more than whether you eat it at all. And the wonderful part is, you now know exactly where to look, not at the bright words on the front of the cup, but at the small print on the back, where the truth has been waiting the whole time. So here's what I want you to actually do with this. When you read a label, run it through 3 quick steps. First, added sugar, you want 0, and you'll accept low. Second, protein. The higher the better. Third, look for those words, live in active cultures. And whenever you can, buy it plain and build it yourself. A handful of berries, a shake of cinnamon, some chia or flax seeds, a few walnuts. You become the one deciding what goes in. One thing to do tonight before bed. Open your refrigerator, pull out every yogurt in there, and read the added sugar line on each one. You may be surprised by what's been hiding in plain sight. Now, a few careful words, because your body is your own. If you have kidney disease, please talk with your doctor or a dietitian before pushing your protein up sharply. If you're managing high cholesterol or heart disease, keep an eye on the saturated fat in the full fat kinds. And remember, blood sugar responses differ from person to person. If you have a glucose meter, try checking your numbers after breakfast. That's how you learn which yogurt truly agrees with your body. A good question to bring to your doctor is simply whether the type and amount of protein you're eating fits your own kidney and heart health. I'd love to hear from you. Of the yogurt you're eating right now, does it fall into the 4 worth choosing or the 4 to be wary of? And what surprised you the most today? And if someone you love, an older parent, a friend, reaches for a healthy yogurt every morning without ever turning the cup over, send them this. It might change one of their mornings, and then all of them. I'm Dr. Claire Whitmore, and I want to see you steady, strong, and enjoying these years with confidence. This conversation is here to teach, not to replace the doctor who knows your history. And please, never stop or change a medication on your own without speaking to the doctor treating you first. Take good care of yourself, eat well, and I'll be glad when you subscribe and stay close. Be well.